How is it going, folks? Welcome back to Prem. I hope you guys are doing amazing. Today is a transfer special, and of course, if you watched last episode, you already know what's going on. If you didn't catch it, League One playoff final, you should probably go watch it. We are back here, and we are heading in to the Championship, knowing we are woefully ill-prepared, but our finances are in the best position they have ever been in. The wage budget, I've shifted some of the transfer budget into it. It sits at £75,000 a week. We're currently spending less than half of that, so yeah, things are going to be changing quite a lot this summer, and on top of that, we have a rather hefty transfer budget too. As we head into pre-season, I have done a bit of a culling. I've moved some of the players that I plan on getting rid of today down to the under-21s. This is the current first-team squad. By my calculations, for a championship campaign, we're probably going to need more than 15 players, so there's quite a lot to do today. I hope you guys are excited for this one. If you are, do make sure to drop a like on the video. Helps push this video into the algorithm far and wide. And of course, just as a little reminder, like last year, this is going to be a two-parter transfer special. So after today's episode, you can all slate me for my transfer business so far. Hopefully you won't be slating me, but I mean, it probably will be justified, won't it? Anyway, enough waffling. Let's get the intro run and then let's get straight into things. There's lots to do today. So today is episode number 63. Today is officially, I suppose, the start of season number 10 here at Guernsey. And like I mentioned before, we got promoted last year. And in last episode, via the playoffs, it leaves us in an interesting predicament where we're in a position where I never really planned for this promotion. Now, like I already said, I have already done a little bit of sorting out of the first team. This is a squad that could maybe do something in the championship. I'm looking at Kamara, I'm looking at Pani and Earthy thinking, you know what, you're not great players, but for your roles, you're pretty good, at least compared to the rest of the players in the team. It'd be unrealistic this year, I think, to expect to throw 11 new first-team players in and expect results. So we've got to be tactical, I suppose, with where we pick our battles for improvement. But in terms of where I am looking for improvement, centre-back, I think the wing-back area needs a little bit of TLC, centre-attacking mid, and also the striking area. Now, just to look at the under-21s, because, of course, there are a few perhaps notable players missing. First and foremost, Daniel Hooper. I've been trying to loan back from Everton. They think it's too early to discuss a loan extension, despite the fact he will be leaving at the end of the month. In an ideal world, we do keep him around for the coming season. Elsewhere, unfortunately for us, Paul Little, who is a big part of our team in on loan, and also the greatest Shulman, who, again, played a role in our promotion this year. Two players we've had in on loan this season whose contracts are expiring at their current clubs. As a result, I can't negotiate a new loan for them, and equally, because they're coming from Premier League clubs, at least in the case of Little, he has slightly unrealistic wages for us. £15,000 a week, I cannot afford. So one player whose contract is running up at the end of the year, and I'm just not going to renew it, is Robbie Yer. I'm sorry to the Robbie Yer fan club. I don't know if he has a fan club. Was anyone a fan of Robbie Yer? I feel like he was a little bit of an unsung hero. Had a few really, really important years for us, but as we pivoted away from the free striker system, didn't really fit in our team anymore. This year really struggled to make his mark in League One, and as a result, it's just, I don't think, not worth renewing his contract really. So sorry, Robbie, thank you for your service. Have a nice life. Beyond that, though, we have got players like Kasana who were good squad players for us this year, but at the age of 32, the reality is I'd like to look longer term in that area of the pitch. And, well, the wing-back area is an area where we already have plenty of depth. Of course, in terms of depth players, Jay Haddo is perhaps the man for that role because he can play on the left, he can play on the right. He's a few years younger as well than Hassana. So, yeah, Hassana on £1,500 a week. We're going to try and move on. And another wing-back who I'm desperate to get rid of is Callum Williams. This man is on £1,800 a week. He's one of the biggest earners at the club. This year he played 11 games and he was absolutely awful. It's very rare that I will look at a transfer and say, I made a terrible decision. This was a terrible decision. I don't like Callum Williams. His face makes me want to punch it, and I want him gone. There are a couple of other players that we picked up during our League 2 campaign that I anticipated would be more useful for longer. One is Liam Stewart. Not a bad player by any means, but when I look at where we're heading, when I look at our current financial situation, the wage budget we have, he's not going to be anywhere near the first team, the 23-year-old. He's not really improved with time either. Of course, we signed him from Rafe for £32,000. I think we'd be fortunate to get that money back. And Johnny Arnott is another player that we picked up in League Two. Good centre-back, but at 21 years old, he has some reasonable value. Kind of interested to see if we could get much for him, simply because I think he's just a little bit below kind of the ability we should be aiming for right now. And at 21, maybe some clubs will view him as still having some potential. I fear if I hold on to him for too much longer, they'll realise that he's never going to reach it. Player who I have demoted from the first team but can actually just play in the under-21s is Callum White. This man has actually been playing actively for the under-21s for the last couple of years. He's a good little player at 19 years old, made 3 appearances in the league for us. We signed him for £40,000. There is potentially the option to move this guy on and try and get a little bit of money for him, but equally, he will be homegrown at clubs sooner rather than later, which might be useful down the line. Nevertheless, just a player who's not really good enough for us right now, and I suppose that's the general trend here. When you look across the players in the under-21s, with the exception of the players who are currently in on loan and a couple of trialists, the bulk of these players are players whom, if we were, a mid-table League One team, would be useful players. But given the fact that I want to, at the very least, be competitive in the Championship and be in a position where if we get relegated, we can immediately bounce back, they're kind of surplus to requirements. Now, to be honest, this season's an interesting one, and this summer's an interesting one, because there's kind of two schools of thought when it comes to this. Do I go out and sign a load of players, try and be championship ready, but risk that if we don't establish ourselves and we go down, we find ourselves in a bit of a financial pickle? Or do I do the more sensible approach? Do I sign some players like we have over the last few years from the League Two, from the National League, players who I think can maybe make the step up, players who maybe don't necessarily guarantee us security in the Championship, but that mean if we do come down, we should be able to bounce back up? And that is kind of the way I'm leaning. I'm thinking that my mental approach for this transfer window is going to be build a team that could get automatic promotion from League One, which might sound a little bit bizarre, but I think we have to be realistic. Our wage budget is half that of the team that finished bottom of the Championship this year. So for us to stay up, it's going to take a little bit of a miracle. Now, you might have noticed it is the 1st of June in-game. That does mean that a load of players with 1 month left on their contract are suddenly available for us to approach to sign. I decided that would be the time to come back because, honestly, I think a lot of our transfer business this year is just going to be freebies. One exception to that, perhaps, is Mason Burstow. In real life, a Chelsea prospect. In this save game, he's been at Newport County for a number of years, has been a star player for them, not just in the National League, but in League Two. You're probably sat there thinking, Jack, you're a Championship team now. Why would you be going after the top goal scorer in the National League? And the answer is, I think he offers us something that we don't already have. He's 27 years old. He's a consistent performer who loves important matches. He's played for a very, very poor Newport County team for a few years and got plenty of goals for them. And when you actually look at his attributes, I think he is of that top League One player mould, which is where we're going for. I want players who I think, if we get relegated, I can keep hold of them. They're going to want to stick around. His current contract was expiring at the end of this year, but rather than risk other teams coming in, maybe trying to sign him on a freebie, I decided to offer Newport County a little bit of money, £16,000. He is currently asking for a contract of £2,800, just to provide a little bit of context there. Our current highest earner is Scott Williams on £2,300. With us going into the Championship, with the wage budget doubling, I think it's safe to say that we are going to have maybe a handful of players on kind of the £4,000 to £5,000 range this year. Burstow, by comparison, comes in knowing that he might end up being a little bit of a squad player, but I still feel like he could be a very, very useful player for us. So if Burstow joins us, that will leave us with 16 players in the first team right now. That would include, of course, Abu Kamara, Tim Apshawn, Brandon Charles, and, of course, the new signing. With that in mind, we're still probably looking for our new starting striker. I don't necessarily think Burstow is it, but I feel like he could be useful. Now, for whatever reason, in Scotland, player contracts expire at the end of May rather than the end of June. I don't know why that's the case, so if you know, answers on a postcard. With that in mind, there's a couple of Scottish players who I have picked up. Kamari Doyle was playing for Celtic. Looks like he could be a really, really good player. Maybe not the best player in terms of as a shadow striker when it comes to his technicals. Would like him to have maybe slightly better dribbling and finishing. But I still feel like he could be a useful player for us. And the other player is Steve Shaw, who is mega injury prone, but has a lot of stuff to like. Now, you might be sat there wondering, Jack, these guys look amazing. Why haven't you offered them contracts? Well, let me show you how much money these kind of players want. Steve Shaw wants £7,000 a week. That's a little bit more than the £5,000 I just quoted. And in the case of Kamari Doyle, 25 years old, happy to sign for us, but if I just remove the stepping stone clause, because I don't want release clauses, he wants £13,000 a week. And therein lies the problem. There are Championship quality players out there. They just want £10,000 plus, which, of course, is kind of reasonable for that ability. But unfortunately, with our current finances, it's not a reasonable demand at all. If I wanted to sign players on £10,000, I would be making 4 new signings this summer. That isn't going to cut it. That's where we're at. I think this is going to be a summer of bargain hunting, trying to get some players in who are good for League One, maybe a couple who are good for the Championship, but ultimately I need them to have reasonable wage demands. I think there's going to be quite a lot of players to sift through. Okay, so first things first, I have just set up some recruitment focuses for all the different kind of positions that we're looking for. I think the big priority this year is probably the wing-back area. I think within our system, it's quite a demanding kind of role. And whilst we did have some players who did an adequate job this year, I do feel like we just need a little bit more quality there. It's never been our strongest position, fullback. I want this to be the year that we try and change that at the very least. But it is a very hard role, I feel like, to fill in Football Manager. Of the players that we've currently got scouted in terms of right wing backs with contracts expiring, Josh Nichols is an okay player. I feel like he's not really an improvement on what we've already got. Guess it's kind of concerning when he's a 3.5-star current ability player, and I'm underwhelmed by him. I mean, you can see here, we've had a few players that our scouts have been looking at, but to be honest, I think we're going to have to wait for these recruitment focuses to kick in, as well as doing just a little bit of manual scouting to kind of see what's out there. I mean, to be honest, of all the left-back options I've looked at, John Evans here might be the best, and that's not really saying a great deal. He is 24 years old, contracts expiring with Fulham. I was just having a look at players with contracts expiring, specifically at Premier League players, because naturally they're players that will probably want to drop to the Championship and of slightly higher quality. None of these have wowed me. I wish I could say the right-back position's looking better. Lewis Henry's probably the best. He's still not good enough. Maybe the freebie option out there that I'm looking for just doesn't exist. Or maybe, and perhaps more likely, they exist, they're just not a Premier League player. Maybe I'm shooting for the sun where I should be aiming for the moon. I need to lower my expectations for players we might be able to sign. I mean, I might have found a right back here. Peter Sheridan, right back for Sheffield Wednesday this year, just gone. Sheffield Wednesday, by the way, missing out on promotion again. And with that, they are struggling to keep hold of their players. He's a good player. They won £110,000 for him. They signed him for less than £10,000 at the start of the year. He's not done that great in League Two, but he might well be an improvement on what we've already got there. I mean, if we compare him with Hassana, who was our right back for this year, he is an improvement. I'm not sure he's worth as much as what they're asking. Sammy Robinson here is transfer listed by Reading. Of course, Reading were relegated, if I'm not mistaken, to League One last year. Missed out on promotion via the playoffs. They might have some players available, but just to put things into perspective here, here's the wages that they have been paying players for the last year. How the hell did we finish above them in the league? It's kind of mad. Sammy Robinson is right down on this list. He only played 1 game this year for them, and yet I'm looking at him as a potential starter for us. Is it just me, or is he not that bad? I mean, compared to Hassana, I don't think he'd be a step backwards. He'd probably be an improvement, but I am just sat here thinking, is he good enough for the Championship? Has he played in the Championship before? And the answer is no. I have maybe potentially found a left-back option here. Jack McKenzie, transfer listed by Dundee. Our scouts had already taken a look at him. It's £18,000 a week they want for him. That's quite a good price. He has some good traits for getting forward in terms of runs with the ball down the left, gets forward whenever possible. Stuff that would actually be useful for us. He is also 31 years old, though. I hate for Hassana to be the measuring stick that we measure all players against, but of course Hassana joined us at 31 years old last year. If we look at Hassana now versus Jack McKenzie, I think McKenzie would be an upgrade. I think for £18,000 a week, it's probably worth investigating, even if just to be a backup wing-back. There are a couple of other left-back options like Dominic Thompson here and also Lewis Gordon who have caught my eye, but they're not as good defensively. And given where we are right now, I feel like McKenzie's defensive ability might be somewhat important. I don't want to pick on any individual club, but players from Sheffield Wednesday keep popping up in my search, and apparently their financial status is insecure, and I've noticed a load of their players are transfer listed due to the club's financial situation. Would it be immoral for me to just sign a load of their players? Because, I mean, maybe they're in League Two for a reason, but on the flip side, maybe there's some bargains to be found here. Centre-back is one area where we're lacking a little bit of strength in depth. Harrison Murray Campbell here looks like a pretty good player. 24 years old, £65,000 a week is what they want for him. Apparently, very consistent. A little bit of a concern maybe over his injury proneness in important matches. And in fact, I say that and I look at these injuries, a little bit scared. What I will say is, in the last kind of 3 years, he's not actually had too many injuries. He just had a really rotten run kind of in the middle here, you can see where he's just struggled massively. Oh, for £65,000 though, is it worth a punt? He is also loan listed, where they just want me to pay his wages. Could I just loan him for the year as a fringe player with an option to buy him? Could we do that? I think because the transfer window is not open yet, I can't put in a future fee. It is tempting though. You know what? I'm going to make a loan offer for him because I think he would be our 5th or 6th choice centre-back. Obviously, the injury proneness is a bit of a concern. My thinking here is if he plays amazing for us and we like him, maybe we can sign him for a bargain fee. Even if we can't, he'd be a useful player to bring in on loan just for a year, especially with those wages. They're so cheap. Peter Sheridan was that right back I was looking at from Sheffield Wednesday. Can I just loan him as well? I can just loan him. Should I really be taking advantage of Sheffield Wednesday in this way? It kind of feels wrong. I mean, I do like Peter Sheridan. You know what? I'm going to offer them nothing and see what they say. They've asked for 40,000. I am taking advantage of a team in financial ruin, and I don't feel guilty. Can we get him for 50k? If I can get him for 50, they want 60. They are negotiating this up slowly. 65, 69, you little memers. Accept it. They want 100k. I'm not paying 100k for him. I think what I'm going to do in the case of Peter Sheridan is we'll wait because I might loan him in with an option to buy him, but I don't think I can put in that option to buy. It might be until the transfer window opens in a week's time. It might be a little bit later than that we can start adding in that clause. I have just had a little look through the rest of the Sheffield Wednesday squad. I can see why they're struggling. Their team is just not very good. Do you ever have those moments in FM where you go on like a clicking spree? It's like you're on a point-and-click adventure. It's like you're going between Wikipedia articles. I was looking at players' contract status expired. Notice Karoy Anderson here playing for Portmore United. We've looked at Jamaican players in the past. We signed one player when we were in the non-league who ended up being rubbish from Jamaica. But it got me thinking, maybe there's some good players out there. And then I came across Manny Richards, who is 26 years old, valued at £0 to £4,000, £2,000 a week wages. And he looks very, very good. I've sent the scouts to Jamaica to look at him, and it's got me thinking, could he be a good addition to the team? I mean, if we just compare him here with, let's go with Kamara. Kamara, our star striker of last year, you compare the two, Manny Richards is just better. So if Manny Richards wants to join us and the scout report comes back positive, I might well sign him up. So they're asking for £0 to £4,000. Can I have him for free? I can't. They want £1,000. Now, I know I said I was focusing on free transfers. Probably can stomach this as a signing. Has got me wondering though, are there more players in Jamaica available? Are there just more players playing in the Jamaican league here? I mean, there's Reece Welch here, who apparently I have on my shortlist from some point. I guess I added him to the shortlist years ago thinking he looks good, and I'm looking at him now thinking he does look good. Another player who plays for Portmore United. I mean, he's not the most technically gifted defender, but I'll tell you what, he can jump, he can run, he can mark and tackle. I'm curious to see how much money he wants a week wage-wise. He has a £1,500 release clause. I think I can stomach that just about. Kiddo Taylor Hart here doesn't look as good as the other players we looked at. Not as interested in him. And Noah Cooper. I don't really need a goalkeeper right now, so sorry, Noah, you're not coming on our arc. Have spotted Sean Johnson here, who's an interesting player, 25 years old. I think he might be worth getting a scout report on. I mean, if these Jamaican players are available for really affordable prices with low wages, I'll sign them all. And there's also Kavan Williams here, who is an absolute freak of nature. Look at this man. 17 acceleration, 17 jumping reach, 15 pace. Now, ignore everything else about him. He's an athlete. He's going to do lots of running. He's good at corners. 15 passing is not too shabby. Oh, I'm really tempted by him, and I know I shouldn't be. Am I losing my mind thinking this guy could be the shadow striker of our dreams? Imagine him. You know what? I'm making an offer. There was 17. It's a big number, and he's available for free. Let's see if he's even wanting to talk to us. Just spent 5 minutes of this video just going through Jamaican players. If I now hit continue and none of them want to talk to me, that is going to be awkward. Okay, lots of moving pieces going on here. Dundee United have accepted our offer for Jack McKenzie. I think he could be a really good left-back option for us. It's at least a short-term option. At 31 years old, we don't have to tie him down for too long. Of course, as part of our club vision, we can only offer him a 2-year deal anyway. He wants new attackers to be brought in. I can't do that for you, Jack. He wants £3,000 a week. I think as part of kind of the growing pains that we're going to experience here, we have to accept there are going to be players who we have to maybe overpay slightly on the wages for, or at least up the wages compared to what we're used to. One thing worth noting is we can now put a top division promotional wage rise into a lot of our contract offers. Given the fact these players are coming in on so little, I'm always going to up this to 50% where applicable, because I think it's a pretty good way of sweetening the deal. And of course, if we were to get promoted to the Premier League, we probably can afford for his wages to go up to £4,500 a week. If we couldn't afford that after promotion to the Premier League, that would be a concern. Okay, Jack McKenzie contract negotiated. That is good. Elsewhere, our loan offer for Murray Campbell has been accepted, and our offers for all the Jamaican players have been accepted. Amani Richards doesn't want to talk to me. Welsh does want to talk to me. I mean, that's good. That could be a centre-back option right there. And Williams has slight interest in joining us. I mean, I just want Williams because he looks odd in terms of his attributes. I mean, lovely looking bloke in general, but I mean, have you ever seen a player that looks like this? It's mental. Have just noticed he wants £4,000 to £5,000 a week as a squad player. It's quite a lot. Okay, Welsh here wants to be an important first team player. I just want to compare him to our other defenders right now. I think Scott Williams is the measuring stick. The weird thing here is that Welsh is kind of one-dimensional. Like I said when we were covering him, he's really good at defending and he's quick and he's good in the air, but he's not good at all that much else. I mean, physically, he's great, but when you compare him to Scott Williams, he's not as great all of a sudden. Although Scott Williams is bloody perfect, so unfair to compare players to him, really. Let's see how much he actually asks for. He wants £4,400. Let's try putting top division promotional wage rise to 50% and then lowering this to 3,000. I have a feeling he's going to throw a hissy fit. Yeah, it's not going to be as good a sweetener as I was hoping it might be, is it? He really wants the £4,400. I mean, I've just spent 5 minutes talking about Jamaicans. We might not sign any of them. I really want to sign Williams. He just looks odd. The weird thing is he has really good corner taking, but with 17 jumping reach, surely you want him in the box anyway. Let's see how much he wants. He wants to be a squad player. He wants to play as a pressing forward. I suppose we could do that for him. How much does he want? £3,100. I'll tell you what, if you're willing to come down to like 2.2, I'll give you the 50% top division wage rise. Give you a 3-year deal if you want it. Oh, am I really about to sign Williams? I think I am. I mean, considering what we were expecting to have to pay for him, I think this is kind of good. How good actually is he as a pressing forward? I mean, as a pressing forward on support, you could definitely do a lot worse, couldn't you? And I mean, look at the teams interested in him. Sochaux, Nim, a team in the Qatar Stars League. Lots of big clubs interested. I've had loads of trials to players. Most of them appear to have been rejected, so that's gone well. Elsewhere, Liam Stewart offers have come in. That's something we wanted to see. £40,000. That actually means I am going to make a profit on him, ignoring the wages that we've spent on him. I'm kind of happy about that. I thought we might have to take a loss. That's some good news. Okay, loads of trialists joining us. The big question now, are any of them actually any good? Most of them are down the lower end. Some good news. Harvey Jones. Remember Harvey Jones? He's available. I feel like the ship's probably sailed on Harvey Jones. We stared at him for years and years and years, and now he's sat in my lap ready to sign for me, and I'm not sure I want him anymore. One thing I have got to be a little bit wary of here is that a lot of the players who are currently in the first team have contracts expiring kind of in the next year. In fact, looking at it, of our first team squad, there's 11 players here whose contracts I need to renegotiate. That should probably be a focus right now. Apparently Abu Kamara is going to want between £3,200 and £4,200 a week. He's currently on £1,400. Let's see how much he actually wants. This is a little bit of a concern because obviously I don't want to have too much turnover in players, but equally I don't want to be overpaying players too much. We're going to make use of that top division promotional wage rise where we can. Let's see if we can get Abu Kamara to sign this deal on £3,000. He wants £3,500 and he wants a 2-year deal as well, which kind of sucks. He really wants 3.5. 3.2, do it for me, Abu. Thank you. Beckford still has that minimum release clause to teams in higher divisions. Now, naturally, now we're in the Championship, it's going to be harder for teams to trigger that. Still a little bit of an ongoing concern, though. Let's try and get Paddy down to £2,000 if we can. He wants a little bit more. 2.2, Panny, do it for me. He really wants 2.6. 2.3, Panny, do it for me. Thank you. I feel like there's a pattern emerging with these players, so I'm going to try and renew as many contracts as I can, and if any cause drama, I'll return with a sad, frumpy face on my face. I anticipate a problem here. Brandon Charles wants to be a star player. A lot of the players actually have asked for higher squad statuses than I wanted to give them, but I'd rather just make a promise that I break than risk losing them on frees at the end of next year. Charles here wants to be a star player. Can he go down to important player? He really wants to be a star player. Important player? Okay, let's try this. He wants £2,800. It's not as bad as what I was fearing, actually. £2,500, 3-year contract, 50% top division wage rise. You know what? I feel like I've done okay. We've negotiated most of these contracts now onwards and upwards. The one player who I didn't renegotiate with was Jay McGrath. This man obviously found himself as more of a backup player towards the end of last season and probably will find himself there unless we don't find a centre-back. This man wanted £5,000 a week and to be a star player. Absolutely not. Okay. It's an important day. Callum Williams might actually be leaving the building. We brought him in on a free transfer. He's been overpaid for 2 years, but I have mercifully had 3 teams make bids for him. I just have to hope that one of them can actually afford his wages. Apparently Grimsby Town have made an offer for Harrison Murray-Campbell, who I'm trying to get in on loan. We're offering him in on loan. They've offered £10,000. They are taking advantage of Sheffield Wednesday just like we are. I'm going to hope they reject that offer and we still get him in on loan. If it turns out they accept that offer, I might make the permanent move myself. I'm sat realising I have played and talked over Football Manager for about 2 hours. I have played 4 days so far. I've had lots of fun just looking for players. Never before has there been a situation where there's so many players I can actually sign and that actually want to join me. It's lovely. Okay, first signing of the window done. Mason Burstow's going to join us. Really, really big pickup, this one. I'm curious to see how he adapts to the Championship. He will get game time in the division for sure. Ultimately, for the price that we paid, I think it's a pretty blooming good signing. He will be joining us in just a few days' time when the transfer window opens. And, well, hopefully he's going to be the first of many. And hopefully Apaya is going to be the first of many, signing new deals at the club. Like I mentioned, a lot of players ask for unreasonable playing time. Looking at you, Paul, you're not the important player that you think you are, but I'm willing to lie to you to get you to sign a 3-year deal, especially on £1,500 a week. That is a really good deal for us. Look at this, all these new deals being signed. I am happy as Larry right now. I'm not sure who Larry is, but I'm as happy as them. Also, apparently, David Brown, who's Reece Welsh's agent, is willing to re-talk negotiations. Of course he is. Let's see if they accept a more reasonable wage this time around. I think last time he was asking for £4,400 a week. Has he dropped his demands? Slightly. 3,900 is still kind of a lot. 3,000 and we've got a deal. I will include the 50% wage rise though. Are they just going to lock in 3.9 now? I could have gone lower. Why didn't I negotiate harder? 3,400. Is that a good deal? I don't even know. Is that a good deal? I'm sat thinking he could be the centre-back on cover in our team. Is that crazy? Am I losing the plot? Potentially. I mean, comparing Welsh with Beckford, I can't help but feel like there's going to be better centre-back options out there. There probably is. Well, we might as well just leave the bid going. It's £1,500. I could just bring him in to be backup. More good news, Jack McKenzie has agreed to sign for us for £20,000. I think he's a very, very good left-back option. Only really a short-term option. Interested to see what he can do, but really, really good physicals across the board. Some nice determination as well. Some much-needed good experience. One thing I have noticed with our team is the kind of squad personality isn't necessarily the best, so getting in a few players like this man, who are a bit more experienced, hopefully will come in and be a bit influential, can hopefully help our kind of younger players stay on the straight and narrow. For people who don't know this, by the way, if you ever have young players that have like their determination randomly dropping, it's often down to the squad personality. So one thing that's important to look at is your team leaders and kind of what their kind of personality traits are like. Of course, in our case, we've got Brandon Charles here with 6 determination, which isn't great. McGrath, by kind of comparison, has 11 determination, which isn't exactly great either. Williams is the one exception, professional personality with 13 determination. Still wouldn't mind getting in a few more influential players who have slightly better personalities. But yeah, if you have players like we do, you can't really expect the squad personality to seep through to the younger players who are on the fringes. It's one thing that is really underrated in Football Manager. When you bring in experienced players, when you have players at the kind of top of that hierarchy, try and get them to have good personalities, because it does make a really big impact on young first-team players and how they kind of develop personally in save games. I'll tell you what, very annoyed that Armani Richards won't talk to us, because he looks like he could be really good, super consistent, really good important matches. I'm just going to make another bid and see if he's changed his mind. Might as well. Update, he hasn't changed his mind. I'm afraid to say. First two new signings through the door now. The transfer window is officially open. Mason Burstow, welcome to Guernsey, my friend. And also Jack McKenzie. These are two players who I'm hoping are going to be useful players for us at the very least. I think in McKenzie's case, he will be starting for us at left back. Of course, last year, Jay Haddo was playing for us a lot at left back. If we just compare him with McKenzie, you can see here, it is just a straight upgrade situation. Even if the star ratings are the same, the stars are lies. Don't trust the stars. Actually compare players. Reece Welch has actually agreed to join us. I'm not sure if I want to make this deal happen yet. I think I might be overpaying slightly, so we're going to delay it. We can delay it for a couple of weeks and make a call. This is the kind of transfer that I might just leave you guys to tell me what you think in the comments of this video. So if you've got any thoughts on this one, probably going to delay it for as long as I can this episode, and we'll pick it up in part 2 of this transfer special. Okay, so Sheffield Wednesday did accept an offer from Grimsby Town, so I'm going to try and make a transfer offer. Why can I not now make a transfer offer? Why is none of this clickable? I don't want to loan him anymore. Now, for whatever reason, it seems to have bugged out where I now can't actually try and sign him. So I'm going to ask my agent to try, well, not my agent, my director of football to try and sign him. Max transfer amount, we'll go 25k, 26k. Apparently I can't do 25. Max wage amount, 2.2k. Try and make that happen. I've never used this feature before. We'll see if it even works. Elsewhere, by the way, Callum Williams is leaving the building. That is £1,800 off the wages. That's a relief, and we actually surprisingly got some money for him. Unfortunately, 10% of it goes to Callum Williams, which doesn't feel fair. And elsewhere, Liam Stewart also leaving the building. £40,000 for him. I don't think that's a bad return, really. At 23 years old, could be a useful player for a League 2 side. I think League 1 was already a bit of a stretch beyond him. The Championship, it's almost certainly too much of a step. Never going to use the transfer target feature again. Harrison Murray-Campbell has gone to Grimsby. No one chooses to go to Grimsby. This game is unrealistic. Peter Sheridan, the right back, is still available here. Can I now make a loan offer that would include an option to buy? I can't. Let's just try and buy him, shall we? They want £110,000 for him. I'm gonna do a big ball move here, just locking in 50k. Take it or leave it. Good news, everyone. Luke Shearer has today made an offer for Murray Campbell. He's bid on the player after he's moved to Grimsby, and he's bid 145,000. I swear I told him the limit was 20-something thousand. This transfer target feature is ridiculous. Is it bad that this might be the signing that makes me the most excited so far? Kevon Williams is joining us, the 28-year-old. I'm signing him because I've never seen a player like him and I want to try and make something out of him. He's going to be a squad player. He is a good little pressing forward option, and we've signed him for free. Welcome to the club, my friend. 17 acceleration, wasn't it? 17 jumping reach. The man is an absolute freak. I'm very excited. I can't wait to see what he can do. Okay, I guess we're not signing Harrison Murray-Campbell because, well, he's just joined Grimsby, and for whatever reason, he now doesn't want to talk to Guernsey a day later. Who would have thought? I don't want to whisper it too loudly, but Williams might be better than Brandon Charles, even if he's only got 5 for finishing. This man could be the new Stephen Gold. If you know, you know. Finishing doesn't even matter. If you don't know, you should go watch last year's Park to Prem. I am also going to train him to play as a shadow striker. I don't think we'd play him here that often, but it's probably just worth him having it in his arsenal. I mean, the first team is now slowly starting to take shape. Here it is. Look at this. It looks like a squad. I mean, we still need a right back, still need a centre back, still potentially need a shadow striker, but we've got a bench full of talent all of a sudden. I'm liking what I'm seeing. Is it going to snap in the Championship? Probably not, but it's a team that I think could do really well in League 1. Apparently our bid for Peter Sheridan that I made non-negotiable has been rejected. How about 60,000? What I'm realising here is by upping the offer by £10,000 and locking it in, I am actually revealing the transfer deal is indeed negotiable, even if I'm locking it in as non-negotiable. I've just noticed something absolutely crazy. Reading, who missed out on promotion this year, have £45 million in the bank as a League 1 club. You know why they have that much? Because they had a tycoon takeover in November that I didn't even know happened. That would actually be a kind of fun save game, wouldn't it? Reading in League 1, having just been relegated at the point of that takeover. I'm hoping that one of my auto saves is around that point. That could be a fun save game for me to do later in the year. Either way, Reading, tycoon takeover. Kind of glad we're not playing against them. The reason I noticed that is because I thought, well, they've got all these players on loads of money. Surely they're under some financial trouble like Sheffield Wednesday. Surely some of our players will want to join us. Turns out that's not the case. They have no financial issues whatsoever. I know some people are going to be thinking it, Jack, you have Man City as an affiliate. Yeah, we do. We probably should be looking at their players. I think it's going to be a similar situation to last year, though, where a lot of the players that would maybe be good to bring in on loan won't actually be able to be loaned to us until the start of July when the season ticks over and stuff and their current loans end. I mean, Brian Davis here? Or Brian. Can I edit this out of the video? No, it's staying in. Maybe I just call him Brian for the rest of the time. He looks quite good. 28 years old, loan listed, centre attacking mid, shadow striker? Question mark? I think so. Let's see if he actually wants to join us. No wage contribution. We'll take him to the end of the season. Make it happen. Ryan Phelan here is an okay player. Probably not what we're looking for. I mean, do they have a right wing back? They've got Luke Walt. He's not very good. I need a right wing back if they've got one. Ryan Hunter's okay, not quite good enough. I mean, Rodrigo Sanchez would be an interesting option. Not sure about the positions this man can play. What have they done to him? Tell you what, Darren Ryan here looks like a really, really good player. Probably not going to be a regular starter for us, but I say that, he's probably better than Panny, isn't he? Is he interested in being loaned to us? They'd rather he play with higher quality players. I'm offended. Have just looked through the rest of the under-21s. Besides Brian Davis, no real players standing out. Maybe a couple of these players who are already out on loan would be worth a pickup. I'm looking at players like Ward here, who spent the last year on loan at Stoke, thinking, yeah, I'd quite like him on loan. Can't make an offer, though, until he leaves Stoke. Our offer for Brian has been accepted. Now we wait. I keep getting asked about Reece Welsh. I think this is the last time I'm going to be able to delay it. So comment section, sign him, yay, nay, maybe. If you don't know, I can't repeat the question. I kind of like the idea of having a Jamaican contingent in the squad. And we are going to need maybe one or two more centre-backs. I'm just not sure he's the right man for the job. I mean, on £3,400 a week, he would become the top earner, which is a little extreme. I was just having a look around Stoke's squad. Have you seen this lad? 15 years old. Have you ever seen a player this good at 15? Either-footed. He tries tricks. He's got 16 heading. I mean, his physicals need a little bit of work, but he's 15. I don't know what accent that was that I did there. Wonder Kids make me do weird things. Okay, hopefully this is going to be the first of many players. Brian, I am now just calling him Brian forever, has agreed to join us from Man City. 3B, good centre attacking mid, 18 years old, bags of potential, great mentals, great physicals, maybe lacks a little bit in the finishing department, but I think he's going to end up playing as a shadow striker for us this year and should be a really good addition. Of course, Paul Little was our go-to centre-attacking mid in this season, but we're not going to be able to get him back from Arsenal. By comparison, Brian is a little bit slower, but more technically gifted, slightly better going forward. Yeah, they're kind of close to one another. Of course, Brian is coming in as a complete kind of free transfer. We have to pay absolutely nothing, so no harm done, even if he doesn't really shine. Also, here is the current first team, just full of trialists. Most of these just aren't quite good enough, sadly. So for now, I am going to stick Davis in as our shadow striker. Whether or not he'll be there come the start of the season, not 100% sure yet. But he is a very good attacking option for us. Of course, he is going to be potentially competing with the likes of Brandon Charles for that position, or indeed the striking position, and also Williams, who I'm hoping is going to be able to play shadow striker eventually. So to end things today, I have just set up a contract expiring in 1 month, work permit lightly, scouting range Europe search just to see what might be out there. There's a few players here that I'm going to take a look through. I think maybe the best course of action, because there's actually 40 players here, is just to scout them all for a week. So maybe that's something we'll come back to next episode. I think I'm going to leave things here for today. I was umming and ahhing about maybe looking for some more players, but this is a two-parter after all, and I have been sat here for a number of hours now. Like I said, with these two-part specials, I like the fact that you guys can provide a little bit of input during the kind of transfer window itself. Additionally, it just relieves a little bit of the stress off me. I've spent 4 hours playing through the last 2.5 weeks in Football Manager. I don't feel like I have to rush through things in the same way. I don't have to rush the edit in the same way either. And I think it just, I don't know, it makes the transfer windows feel a bit more significant and a bit more enjoyable, at least for me. Of course, another thing we achieved today is renewing a load of our player contracts. The wage scaling has kind of gone up a little bit in terms of how much players are earning, but that's kind of to be expected. We are in the Championship now. You can see our committed spend is actually just over £50,000. So we've still got a good £20,000 plus to spend on players. So there could still be a lot happen tomorrow, and well, there probably will be. Anyway, we're going to leave things there for today. I will see you guys tomorrow for more Park to Prem action. Until then, it is me, Jack, and I'll talk to you on the next one. I'm out.